With me on the program now, the Labor frontbencher, Jason Clare. Mr Clare, thanks for your time. Matthias Cormann did secure the support of the crossbench last night. Labor did, over the last few years, negotiate with the crossbench. In fact, formed an alliance with the Greens. So is it a bit rich for Labor to be critical of the government now for doing these sorts of deals?
Well, the point I'd make is this. If there's another Storm Financial, if there's another case of what we saw happen at the Commonwealth Bank where people lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, in some cases more than $1 million, their life savings, and had to go back onto the pension, then it's on Tony Abbott's head. We have done everything we can to warn this government about the risks of watering down consumer protection against dodgy financial advice. And they've now done this deal with Clive Palmer. And if this leads to another crisis, another fiasco, another case of people losing their life savings, then it's on Tony Abbott's head.
In relation to Clive Palmer and that negotiation last night, is it premature to be saying that the government's $40 billion or thereabouts in savings is going to hit the fence? Because clearly Mr Palmer's open to negotiation on things.
Well, it's clear Clive Palmer's running the country. Clive Palmer's running the government. Simon Benson's got an interesting article in the Daily Telegraph today where he says coalition ministers last night privately conceded that Mr Palmer has effectively taken control of the parliament. I think that's right. I think Tony Abbott has become Clive's puppet. He does what Palmer says, and the best evidence of that, the cameras don't lie, was Clive Palmer yesterday going from the House of Representatives to the Senate, listening to Matthias Cormann read into the record his promises to Clive Palmer, and then Clive Palmer walking out of the Parliament.
But the government also did compromised. You're saying he's being led by Palmer. Isn't it a government compromising to get its agenda through, like it's compromising with you on Qantas?
Well,
that's compromise.
Tony Abbott, when he was opposition leader, said this: there'll be no deals done with independents and minor parties under any political movement that I lead. The issue here is hypocrisy.
He's talking about forming government, though.
Well, he was talking about doing deals, and that's exactly what he's doing. In opposition, he said he wouldn't do any deals with minor parties or independents, and now he's doing them with Clive Palmer. This is hypocrisy. It's another broken promise.
Again, I put it to you, though, isn't it a government compromising like they've done with you on the issue of Qantas? Well, because this is what Labor wanted, and now you describe that as a back down.
Well, and it's a good back down. I'm glad they've backed down because it was a stupid idea. They've got to back down on the bad idea of a $7 tax every time you go to the doctor. They've got to back down on their plans to cut the pension, and they've got to back down on their plans to increase the cost of university degrees. And the faster they do that, the better. This budget is as popular as anthrax. They know it. That's why Joe Hockey's now talking about trying to go around the back door to cut other things. But my warning to the government would be, if they're going to try and do this in a different way and cut hospitals further, cut schools further, then they're just going to become more unpopular. The people of Australia have given this government a clear message. They don't like broken promises. They don't like this unfair budget.
If they don't like broken promises, why not let the government deliver on a promise, their biggest promise, to repeal the carbon tax?
We've said,
which Labor said that also terminate.
And we've said we'll get rid of the carbon tax if we can replace it with something that will work, an emissions trading scheme. Direct action is a dog. Everybody knows that that won't work. We've said we need an emissions trading scheme. Even Clive Palmer says we need an emissions trading scheme.
So under no circumstances Labor would support direct action as a last resort to get some effort in that area?
One thing's very clear. Direct action won't work. It's a dog. If we're going to get serious about this in the future, it's going to take an emissions trading scheme.
Okay, Mr Clare, thanks for your time.
Thanks, mate.
That's all for AM Agenda. Thank you for